if I try to muscle my way through it, and this is the God's own truth, you can't cast as far. You just can't. Not unless you're a savant or something. The best casts come by going boop. I aim high, I tip cast it, I let the rod do the work, and that's when I get my best cast. It's almost weird. It's almost like, hope nobody hears this because it's probably wrong, but if I have a super high stop, I'm talking 1 o'clock, 12:30, really high, and I just barely touch it, but I get it right, it just flies. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and then I'll back off for overhang. That's a long cast for me. These comp guys, though, they got like 25 strips out, so this is reality. Okay, all my running line went out, which is, you know, it runs into, I don't know how much it is. That's a long cast for me. Now I'll just do one really, really hard. Try to just muscle it and see how far I can cast it. I'm gonna check my ferrules first. I do not want to break my rod. Make sure that you wax and tape or check your ferrules often, because they don't give these comp rods away. Okay, so I'll go for max distance with power. Well, it all went out again, maybe even better, but that was lucky. It all went out that time, and I didn't try that hard. Full disclosure, I am not in any way, shape, or form a professional distance spey competition caster. No way. Those guys and gals are literally like professional athlete status in my mind, because they've put so much time, effort, energy, practice, and not only that, some of them are extremely gifted. So I cannot by any means cast with those guys or gals, so that's that. I will tell you this about comp casting. You need a gale force comp line, bar none. It's the best, it's the easiest, it jumps off the rod tip, it goes the furthest, it goes the fastest, it unfolds the prettiest. There's nothing that compares. There's literally nothing that compares. That is my full, and everybody knows it, period. Gale force, the only line to have. Even if you don't have a comp rod, get a comp line and chop that baby down. She will fly like no other. That's what I do. The other thing is your anchor placement has to be perfect every time. So don't practice casting without being aware of your anchor placement, lying in the same place, landing flat every time, period. No ifs, ands, or buts. You can't have the anchor all over the place. Believe me, I know. When I'm on and when I've got my head screwed on straight, I plan that anchor the same way every time. Slack is your enemy, so stay away from slack in any part of the cast, and that's easier said than done, but I would say get a video and watch yourself. I throw away tons of video that doesn't apply to what I want anybody to see, because it would be super boring. But I can tell you yesterday's problem was my D-loop went like this, and sometimes the end of the D-loop hit the water and there was a space, and yeah, it was ugly. So today's object is making sure I got a D-loop that goes like that. So make sure that slack is out of your line. And the third thing I will say for casting far is quit trying to cast so hard. And I've done all of these. I've made all of these mistakes. So nobody is more fit to tell you than me, your friendly YouTube guy. And I will say this, full disclosure, I do happen to be knocking down about $4.25 a day on YouTube. That's right, $4.25 on a good month. Sometimes more, sometimes less. I am not without corruption here, tell you that. But I'll tell you the straight scoop, okay? I'll tell you. I'm not ashamed. I dare anybody else to come out here and showcase their shittiest casts. If I really want to cast far, and I honest to goodness truth, there is no exaggeration. I'm not trying to prove a point. I'm not trying to pull any wool over. I'm not like hiding a secret. There's no real super secret. There might be a few, but the best thing that's going to help you is practice. And the other thing that's going to help you is watch Peter Morris's video. He just came out with it, Peter Morris on YouTube. It's just an amazing video, and you'll hear stuff there that you will not hear anybody else say. And I'm not going to really let the cat out of the bag. Is pretty simple, but it doesn't mean it's not. It doesn't mean it's easy. It's simple, but it's not easy to master. But here is the all-time distance casting tip from me, the guy that can't cast that far, but occasionally I'll hit a good one. And when I'm hitting good ones, I'm really laying off the power. I'm not trying to just bend the rod as hard as I can and just slam it. I'm really making myself back off the power, and I'm casting like this. Super high stop, super, you can't jam it. You kind of got to go, you got to accelerate, but you got to accelerate perfectly. And I stop to a really high stop, and I aim kind of high. And if you pull hard and cast low and try to muscle your way through it, and I work with guys just they can't not muscle their way through, and I've done that too. So I'm not saying that. I mean, anybody who's ever done this, I don't think there's anybody who has done it perfectly from day one. But when I get my best cast, I really just get that good anchor, and I get in the key position, and then I just, cast like that. And I try to feel the whole rod flexing. It's almost as if, and I am using my hands, I'm pulling down and, doing a cast, trying to extend my upper arm and get the bottom arm pulling as much as I can. I'm not hammering on it when I get my good casts, and I almost have the feeling I'm tip casting the rod. It's like I go out there, get a nice anchor, and then instead of just bearing down and trying to bend the rod super hard and pushing through the whole thing, I aim high, I tip cast it, I let the rod do the work, and that's when I get my best cast. It's almost weird.